Every single day, construction teams around the world are causing environmental damage they cannot even see, not because they are careless, because nobody told them the facts. 1 liter of diesel fuel, just 1 liter, has the capacity to contaminate 1 million liters of drinking water. 1 cubic meter of concrete washout, if discharged improperly, can destroy the biological oxygen demand of an entire waterway. These are not worst-case scenarios. These happen on active construction sites every week. In the next 8 minutes, I am going to give you 10 environmental facts that every construction professional, every site engineer, every HSE officer, every project manager needs to know. Some of these will genuinely surprise you. Stay until the end, because fact number 10 is the one most teams never see coming. Let us start with the industry itself. Construction and demolition activities are responsible for approximately 40% of all solid waste generated globally. Not industrial manufacturing, not consumer packaging, construction. Every time a structure is built, renovated, or demolished, it contributes to what is now the single largest waste stream on the planet. On a typical large infrastructure project, waste generation rates can reach 50 to 150 kilograms per square meter of floor area. Most of that waste is recoverable. Most of it ends up in landfill. Fuel storage is one of the most overlooked environmental risks on construction sites. A single liter of diesel or petrol, when it reaches a watercourse or infiltrates groundwater, has the potential to contaminate 1 million liters of drinking water. That is not a regulatory estimate. That is a physical, chemical reality. A standard construction site fuel bund holds anywhere from 5,000 to 50,000 liters. A failed bund seal, a dripping valve, a single equipment overfill. The environmental impact window is enormous. This is why secondary containment is not a recommendation. It is a non-negotiable. When teams think about dust control, they think about the site boundary. But fine particulate matter, PM 2.5 and below, does not respect boundaries. Under the right atmospheric conditions, construction dust can travel up to 50 kilometers from the emission source before settling. And when it settles, it carries with it everything it picked up: silica particles, heavy metals from disturbed soils, hydrocarbons from site traffic. Dust monitoring that stops at the site perimeter is not dust monitoring. It is a documentation exercise. In environmental audit data across major construction markets, the UK, the United States, Australia, and the GCC region, concrete washout consistently appears as the #1 cause of water pollution violations on active sites. The reason is simple. Concrete washout water has a pH between 11 and 13. At that alkalinity, it kills aquatic life on contact. It takes less than 2 cubic meters of improperly discharged washout water to render a small watercourse biologically dead. And yet, on the majority of sites, washout management is an afterthought. A corner of the site, a plastic sheet, and hope. Environmental noise from construction is now ranked as the primary source of community complaints against the construction industry globally, ahead of dust, ahead of visual impact, ahead of traffic. The World Health Organization has classified chronic construction noise exposure as a public health issue, linked to sleep disturbance, cardiovascular stress, and cognitive impairment in children living near long-term infrastructure projects. And yet the majority of construction noise management plans are written once, filed, and never implemented in the field. Chemical and hazardous material storage failures are one of the fastest routes to a regulatory enforcement action on a construction site. In multiple jurisdictions, the UK Environment Agency, the US EPA, and environmental regulators across the GCC, a single improperly stored chemical drum, particularly one containing solvents, fuels, or cement additives, can provide sufficient grounds for an immediate site stop work order. Not a warning, not a notice, a shutdown. The regulatory logic is straightforward. A site that cannot manage one drum correctly cannot be trusted to manage the wider environmental risk profile of the project.
When we talk about environmental damage from construction, we typically think in project timescales, months, maybe years. But the ecological damage from construction to native soils and biodiversity systems operates on a completely different timeline. Topsoil formation takes between 100 and 1,000 years per centimeter of depth. Once stripped, compacted, or contaminated beyond threshold limits, topsoil cannot be recovered within any commercially relevant time frame. Biodiversity assessments before construction are not bureaucratic delays. They are the only mechanism we have to understand what we are permanently removing.
Here is a fact that moves from problem to solution. Research across construction markets consistently shows that sites operating under a certified ISO 14001 environmental management system experience significantly fewer regulatory violations, fewer environmental incidents, and lower remediation costs than uncertified sites. The system works, not because of the certificate on the wall, but because of the operational discipline the system requires: legal registers, objectives, monitoring, internal audits, and management review. The certificate is the output. The discipline is the protection. Construction is one of the most water-intensive industries in the world, but site-level water consumption data is almost never tracked in real time. Industry benchmarks suggest that a large infrastructure project can consume anywhere from 50,000 to 500,000 cubic meters of water over its lifespan for dust suppression, concrete production, equipment washing, and welfare facilities. The good news is that water reduction on construction sites is one of the most achievable environmental gains available. Recirculation systems, waterless dust suppression technologies, and basic metering can reduce site water consumption by 30 to 40%. Most sites have none of these in place. And here is the fact most teams never see coming. The environmental incidents that result in the largest fines, the longest shutdowns, and the most reputational damage are almost never caused by the risks that were identified, assessed, and controlled. They are caused by the risks that were never measured in the first place. Unmapped drainage connections, undocumented soil contamination from previous land uses, unmonitored nighttime noise, unstored chemical inventories. Environmental management is not about managing what you know. It is about having the systems in place to find out what you do not know before it finds you.